Bro, this past week and a half, man, it's taught me so much. You want to talk about like really staying the course and really standing on business and trusting in the process and like really trusting your account, your livelihood into probabilities and the law of large numbers. I can truly understand why people go on tilt. I can truly understand why we revenge trade. Like, you know how much trust that you have to have that probabilities in your system will play out? You damn near have to trust it with your life. It has to be like a religious trust. And this past week has taught me that, right? So if you look at my calendar, I had a 4 day losing streak, $414, $450, $450, 471. And if you can tell, these losses are gradually becoming bigger. So what that tells you and me is that these losses were getting to me, right? They were getting to me. I was trying to get my money back, but also the disciplined part of me was fighting, right? Like the trader that I aspire to be was like, hey, like, bro, chill out. Like I know that you're on the losing streak, but you gotta stick to the plan. But the degenerate part of me was like still seeping out a little bit, just a little bit, right? So it seeped out about $35 right here, right? Then it seeped out like another $6 right here. Then it seeped out like another $20 right here, like just gradually coming out with more losses I started to incur. That's what that tells me, right? And by the fourth day, and when I took that trade, and it's on live too, you can check my live, right? On the 19th. On the fourth day, I was so frustrated, bro. Frustrated. And it just showed how much I didn't trust my plan, how much I didn't trust my trading system, how much I didn't trust the law of large numbers, right? The law of large numbers, for lack of better terms, pretty much states that if there's a certain stat, like say if it's 50-50, like a coin flip, right? The first six flips might be straight tails, and then the last four flips might be heads. That doesn't mean that this is a 60-40, thing. It just means the more times you flip, the closer that you're going to get around that 50%, right? Like the more attempts, the more endeavors, as long as you don't stop flipping that coin, as long as you don't stop taking those trades, you're going to continue to have a slight deviation, but it's going to hover around, 50% if that's like your win rate per se, right? So I took four losses back to back to back to back. On that fourth day, it really tested me. Each day, that degenerate side was slowly seeping out as my losses are gradually getting bigger, right? And then Wednesday through Friday, 1,200, 1,100, 800. Like it balanced itself out. And my wins will always be bigger than my losses because I try to go for at least a 2R. It balanced itself out. And that experience right here, right? And that's how we like transform our beliefs is through experiencing and witnessing. If somebody doesn't believe in like God, right? And then they had a revelation or some type of epiphany or some type of life thing that happened or event or occurrence that happened that how they translated that situation was this couldn't be anything but God. Or maybe they had a dream and God gave them a message and it was undeniable, right? But they experienced it. The experience is all I'm talking about here. Now they will believe, right? And that's the case here. And the problem with me as a beginner, when I was a beginner trader, and a lot of people who watch my videos that's struggling to see success as a trader is that we can't maintain emotional stability and neutrality long enough to see things play out and let the law of large numbers, to let probabilities work itself out. Like we interrupt the process before we start seeing green. And the fact of the matter is, in this game of probabilities, right, losses are the door you have to go through in order to reach those green days. Like this just goes to show I had to take 4 losses. Like I had to take 4 losses in order to get 3 wins back to back to back because it has to balance out. Like there is no one-sidedness. There's like, you could just delete that out of your mind, like kill that. Like this is life. Like nothing is one-sided. There would not be a straight uptrend. The market doesn't even go straight up, right? It's higher highs and higher lows, but it always reaches a new all-time high. And that's the same thing for life. That's the same thing for your P&L, your equity curve, as you can see right here. So it doesn't make sense to have 3 green days in a row and not have the possibility of having 3 red days in a row, right? And we can see that now. So it tested me, but I was able to keep calm long enough to allow the green days to come. I just had to walk through this door, walking through the door of losses to meet those green days, right? And having the emotional neutrality in order and the mental edge, right? And the clarity and the trust. Like I'm talking about complete trust. You have to trust your entire life, like a religious trust. You have to have it in order to like fade a 4-day losing streak. Majority, I would say 98% of traders couldn't do that. They couldn't do this without tilting 1 trade per day. Just one shot, fail back to back to back to back. We'll perceive it as failing back to back to back to back. That's a recipe for tilt. Shit, some people can't go past 1 day. I know that was me at one point. I couldn't. It's either I ended green or the account was blown, right? So this just shows my personal growth and maturity as a trader and my mental edge. That's why I study so hard on the mental edge in trading psychology, to know myself well enough, to know my triggers and to be able to put it on the charts, right? Like what triggers me and what can I do in order to either avoid the trigger or use it as a benefit. Okay. And that's what they mean. And that's what a lot of people mean and a lot of traders mean by making a system that fits you. You have to include your technical edge and your mental edge and make them cohesive. Every decision should have both parts included, not just technicals. Okay. And yeah, that's what this past week and a half showed me. Man, you got to take the losses. You got to take them. So as you can see, this month I'm up $5,700, 16 days, 16 trades, still doing 1 trade per day for the month of August. We have 1 more week. And yeah, just want to show you and allow you to witness the law of large numbers and what thinking and believing in probabilities will do for you. We are the weakest part, and I'm going on another rant. We are the weakest part of our system. And that's another reason why I do 1 trade per day, because if I'm the weakest part of my system, I want to remove myself as much as possible. Of course, I have to be a part of the entire trading system because I'm the one that clicks the button. I'm the one that analyzes the charts. But as soon as my job is done, I don't want to spend another second on these charts because that's when I'm going to start fucking shit up, right? Like the same way I can build this up is the same way I can burn this bitch down. So after I enter a trade, set my stop loss, my take profit, I'm removing myself. 1 trade, I'm removing myself. The more you click that button, the more you're inherently risking your mental capital and your actual capital. Think of every click of your mouse as an L. If you do that, you will probably make way more money. Every time you click buy or sell and enter a trade, every time you click that mouse, just count it as an L. I guarantee you'll click it a lot less. And if you click it a lot less, you'll remove yourself a lot more. And if you remove yourself a lot more, you'll remove the emotional volatility. And removing the emotional volatility gives space for the law of large numbers and probabilities to play out that will push your account forward, eventually leading you to financial freedom in every goal that you set for yourself as to why you started trading. Okay. So going back to the stats. So August, I made $5,874.50 across 5 150K XFA accounts on Top Step. I had a total of 22 trades this month. 50% win rate. Sorry, matter of fact, this month, I have to filter it out. Sorry about that. So 16 total trades this month, right? 16 trading days, 16 total trading, 16 total trades. So $5,759.50. Okay, that's how much I made. 16 trades, 16 days, across 150K XFA accounts on Top Step. My trade win percentage, 56.25%. So I won 56% of my trades. I had 9 green trades and 7 red trades, right? 9 winners, 7 losers. My profit factor is 2.93. Anything over 1.0 means that your trading system is profitable. The higher the number, the more profitable it is. I'm almost at a 3, which is pretty good. Day win percentage, green days versus red days. How many days did I end green? How many days did I end red? Since I've been doing 1 trade per day, it's going to reflect the trade win percentage, right? So 56.25%, 9 winners, 7 losers, 9 green days, 7 red days. And my average win-loss trade, which is my average R multiple, is 2.28, which means every $1 that I risk, I make $2.28. When you see this stat, and I say this every video, this means that losers are no longer losers and they are investments. Every time you take your paycheck and you invest it into the S&P 500 or you invest it into your 401k, you don't call that a loss. You call that an investment. So if every $427 that I lose, I make $972, that's an investment. If I sat here and I told you every time you give me $500, I'll give you back 1,000, how much money would you give me? Probably a lot, okay? So these are investments now. Then we got my Zeller score hovering around 78, 77.91. Okay, so my max drawdown is the lowest one at almost 60 out of 100. Recovery factor is 88 out of 100, pretty solid. Average win-loss, 76 out of 100. Profit factor, 97 out of 100. Win percentage, 93 out of 100. And then consistency is 88 out of 100. So pretty solid. My goal is to max all of these out. But if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. Beautiful equity curve right here, right? Healthy dips, right? Like these aren't crazy drawdowns, right? So even right here, this is the biggest dip I've had. And that's because I had 4 losses in a row. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay. So that brought my account all the way down from $4,418 all the way down to $2,631, which means I am an aggressive trader when it comes to risk and I need to size down, which I plan on doing next week. Okay. Now, the good part about it is the previous dip, right? The previous dip was 2,475, and after 4 losers in a row, the biggest dip was 2,631, which was still higher than the previous one after 4 losers. That means my R multiple and my win rate is superb. It's beautiful. Not gonna lie to you, that's something I'm proud about. And then after 4 losers in a row, from 2,631, first winner breaking the losing streak, 3,839. Second winner, 4,951. And then the third winner in a row, $5,759. I'm at a new all-time high. So as you can see, this is just like the market. You know, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. All right. Looking at the trade time performance, I've realized that my best chance or my highest probability is always after 10 a.m. So you will see all of my trades are after 10 a.m. I wait 30 minutes after the market opens, okay? And as you can see, a lot of these winners are spaced out, but a lot of my losers are pretty much clustered together for the most part. I wonder what that means. I'll look into it. If you have any idea what that possibly can mean that I can use as an edge, let me know in the comment section. So then we have trade duration. How long am I holding my trades? So my winners, I think on average, I hold my winners a lot longer than I hold my losers. My losers have been, let's see. Yeah, they're about the same. But as you can see, there's 4 winners over here that I've held between an hour to 2.5 hours. I've only had 1 loser right here that was an hour and 7 minutes. And that was an anomaly. So I know for a fact that's more so a probability-based loss, meaning this loser wasn't due to my execution. It was most likely due to just probabilities if it took that long, right? Because it's outside of the group right here. Okay. We do have this one that took about 3 minutes. I wouldn't call that necessarily. That's probably a possibility based loss, because that means it crashed out immediately. So that might have, I don't know. Not sure what that possibly means, but it's here. All right. So the fact of the matter is, I let my winners run, and I always wait 30 minutes after the market open for a price to stabilize. Okay. My biggest drawdown, right? You can always tell how great a trader is by their drawdown, by their losers. Anybody can make $1,000. Anybody can make $1,200. Anybody can make money just by pressing a button and get lucky. Okay, the making money is really the market's job. The market doesn't know when to stop, so it's like our job. If we could pick the right direction and time it properly, right? The market is just going to run. That's the market's job, to earn our profits. But on the other hand, because the market doesn't know how to stop, because once it picks up momentum, once it gets going, it's like a kid with a temper tantrum. It can't stop. So if it goes in the opposite direction of our bias or where we placed our trade, we gotta cut the trade because it's just going to keep on ripping. How many times have you sit there and pray to God that price was going to turn around when you were in drawdown because you didn't have the willpower or the strength to cut the trade? The only time you cut the trade is when it was so painful that losing X amount of money was more expensive than the cost of your own pride. Think about that. That's because the market can't stop once it starts. Once it picks up momentum, it's gone. Okay. So our job is to control our losses, because it's like a kid with a temper tantrum. We're the parent. We control the parameters, right? The targets, like, okay, this is my stop loss. This is my take profit. You are allowed to move however you want in between these boundaries, just like how you do a kid. You are allowed to have fun within these boundaries. Do not go out of bounds, though, or I'm going to have to take you out the game. I'm going to cut the game. So we can control the destinations and the targets of the market, but we cannot control how the market moves. And that's why I always call price action between your stop loss and take profit noise, because anytime you look at price action while your trade is working out, you will get so many false signals because you're looking at the micro instead of looking at the macro. Your trading plan is the macro. It's the big picture. It's the painting. And every single stroke that you may not like, you interrupt the trade. Okay? So stop losing sight of the big picture. Stop losing sight of the big picture and stop focusing on the little strokes. Stop focusing on the noise. You can't control how the market gets to one of your targets. Your only problem, not even a problem, your only responsibility is to make sure that the market gets to one of these targets. All right, just think about that. You cannot control how the market gets to one of your targets, but you can control where the targets are and place the boundary around price. Anything that it does in between, none of your concern, none of your business. It's just noise. Let it go. Stop being a micromanager. You don't like being micromanaged. Don't micromanage the trade. Okay? So allow it to hit one of your targets, the invalidation point or take profit. All right? So that's pretty much all the lessons of this week. This week was I liked it. I liked it a lot. Look at that. 4 in a row, but they're short red bars. This was my losing streak. Very short. And then look, pretty strong. The only reason why this was an $808 loss is because this was Jackson Hole. And, I don't really like catalysts like that. I like consistency. There's no difference between mastering trading and being a successful trader and consistency, as long as you have a profitable plan. They're one and the same. It's interchangeable. If you can master the skill, because consistency is a skill, you master the skill of consistency, you will be a successful trader as long as you have a profitable trading plan. And the only thing that destroys consistency is this. It's between your ears, it's your mind, it's your brain, if it's mental blind spots, or if it's emotional volatility. That's the only thing that can really ruin consistency, okay? And lack of knowledge in your trading system if you don't have a proper trading system, like if it's unprofitable or you don't know it well enough, which you should backtest at least 1,000 times, all right, to gain that confidence in yourself, in your execution, and in the stats of your system as well. Okay, so you know what to expect, the losing expectancy and also the winning expectancy. Another thing that I learned through these losers, right, this losing streak, is that the reason why I was flustered and I was pissed on this 4th day is because I didn't know my losing expectancy well enough, right? What if like if you think about it, fear is induced by not knowing. Like if you was dropped off in the middle of a forest or something like that, you would probably panic. But if you had a GPS, you wouldn't panic. It'll be inconvenient, but you wouldn't panic because you know how to get out because you have the knowledge, right? Like knowledge, lack of knowledge or ignorance in an unknown environment or a chaotic environment is very fear inducing. Okay. With that being said, what if I knew my loss expectancy like the back of my hand? What if I knew that there's a very high chance that I can incur 4 losses in a row due to the stats of my system? Do you know your loss expectancy? That's the question, right? Answer that in the comment section. Do you know your loss expectancy? Is your system able to render you 4 losses in a row, 3 losses in a row, 5 losses in a row before something is wrong? Like for me, I know that my system should be able to yield me 5 losses in a row now. 5. The 6th loss is a major drop off. So 5 losses in a row, maybe like a 50% chance, 40% chance, and a 50 trade sample. Like a 50 trade sample, probably like a 50% chance I can get 5 losses in a row if I'm not mistaken. Now, now on that 6th loss, it drops down from like 50%. On the 6th loss, it drops down to like 16%. So I shouldn't really get no more than 5 to 6 losses in a row. And if that is a proper expectation, if that is something that you know is liable to happen within your system, when it occurs, to a degree, you should get excited with more losses consecutively because that just means you're getting closer and closer and closer to a winner, to a green day. If you can keep your emotions in check and just fade the red days, you can just go through door after door after door after door. Just know that that green day is coming if you can keep your emotions in check. All right. So I hope this video helped you out and gave you some perspective on how deep you have to trust the law of large numbers, how deep you have to trust your own execution, and how deep you have to trust probabilities through experiencing, witnessing, which I've just showed you right here, right? And hopefully you get to give yourself an opportunity to lose and stay cool so you can see the end of it. So you can experience your own losing streak and then see once you arrive to a green day, once you experience it yourself, then your belief in the law of large numbers and probabilities in your system and execution will start to deepen. It will start to become more cemented. So I actually hope that you lose and experience this. Because once you start to lose a few in a row and then you come out on top just like this, nothing's going to be able to break your confidence, or it'll be harder, much harder for you to break your confidence. So hope this video helped you out, and I'll see you next week.